over the final drawing line here.
All right, we're following several new developments regarding President Trump's attempts to deploy the National Guard to multiple Democratic cities across the country. NBC News senior White House correspondent Garrett Haake has more.
Overnight protest outside an ICE facility in Portland, while President Trump was dealt another legal setback. A Trump-appointed federal judge had already blocked the president from using Oregon's National Guard to address protests in Portland, the administration then ordering 300 troops from California to the city. But overnight, that same judge, in a rare emergency hearing, temporarily blocking Trump from sending National Guard members from California or any other state to Portland. The president speaking earlier Sunday.
Portland is burning to the ground. You have agitators, insurrectionists.
The city's police chief says the protests are contained to a single city block. Oregon's governor says troops aren't needed.
There's no need for military intervention in Oregon. There's no insurrection in Portland. There's no threat to national security.
Just hours before the judge's ruling Sunday night, the Trump administration had also turned to troops from Texas, ordering 400 members of the Texas National Guard to Portland and to Chicago, where the Illinois governor said in a statement, quote, "We must now start calling this what it is, Trump's invasion." The administration had already authorized National Guard troops in Chicago to, quote, protect federal officers and assets.
We send in what's ever necessary. People don't care. They don't want crime in their cities.
The administration argues that troops are needed to protect immigration officers after several violent incidents, including this video showing what DHS officials say is a truck full of ICE officers being rammed by a black SUV. And another incident in which federal prosecutors say 2 people rammed a Border Patrol vehicle, and Customs and Border Patrol agents shot and wounded one of the suspects, who they say had a gun. The governor arguing the administration is antagonizing Chicago's citizens.
They want to create the war zone so that they can send in even more troops.
So a lot to discuss here. I mean, you have, first of all, judges have been working all weekend, it seems, stopping this. And again, when Donald Trump says, oh, I need to send troops to Chicago because of crime, a judge is going to say, well, no, you can't send them there for crime control. If you're protecting ICE agents,
it's not an insurrection.
if you're protecting ICE agents, if you're protecting federal facilities, then that's constitutionally permitted. But to get up and say, I'm going to send them to Chicago or Portland because crime is bad there, that's going to get a judge rebuking him every time.
Well, it's such a clear-cut case of federalism and government overreach. And you look at the raid last week in Chicago, and it is truly disturbing that we had Blackhawks and agents rappelling into an apartment building for a raid that netted maybe 2 arrests at the end of the day. It was absolutely disproportionate, taking children from their beds in the middle of the night at 1 a.m., having elderly people in zip ties. That's insane. Why do we have the war on terror in the United States?
And I would say when Donald Trump had said, hey, we're going to practice our military exercises on, in American cities. Again, this is the sort of thing we were laughing about Andrew Schultz and all these bro podcasters going, oh, I never saw this coming. Well, Donald Trump said there were going to be bloody deportations. This, though, I've got to say, is even beyond what I think even Trump voters expect.
Yeah, he tells us what to expect, but this went even beyond that. I mean, the footage here, as you say, is so extraordinary. And the reason why we also have so much footage is because they filmed the whole thing. Yeah. Like, there's cameras. You can see there's footage of these agents. Some of them carrying cameras, and there's a slickly produced Hollywood-style trailer for social media that's put out. And it's just such an obscene display of not how the American military should be used.
Well, and Ben, again, going back to how the media is used, you always got the sense from the very beginning that the video of the immigrants being marched into the El Salvador prison,
yes,
it's just done in the most glossy way. I mean, a lot of those guys have been released at this point, but it was just, again, they wanted the video playing. They wanted to play it not only so their base could see it, so people in the media could see it and Democrats could see it and they could have the reaction that they wanted to get, right? And it's the same thing. They get this slickly produced video of an invasion of an American city. Why? Because their base will love it. And because the media and Democrats will be shocked.
Yeah, and they spent a lot of the last 4 years listening to the media and to Democrats warn about what they were going to do, and it often in quite over-the-top terms. And you can kind of see them almost like enacting things, like you warned that they were going to militarize American cities, like, watch this video. Like, part of it is this feedback loop with their critics, who they are trying to kind of bait and troll and antagonize, as you say, even as they also feed their base. And of course, they're just looking for confrontations. And they're trying to find these big confrontations around an issue that
they've got this video now that they can play over and over, like the El Salvador video. They played over and over and over again. So it was like it was going on constantly. So it was feeding their base and also having their critics respond in a way they wanted to provoke to have them respond.
Yeah, except that if you think about Governor Pritzker, when he gave that talk, he said, stay peaceful and videotape everything. Yeah. And I think there's a part of that that is the other side of it, which is there is a moment when these images affect Trump. And we saw it in the first administration. Remember the little girl with the shoes? And he was like, enough. You know, and so I do think there is a moment where the American people see the kind of carnage that's happening in the name of whatever and change their mind.
Well, you know, there is, I mean, you look at every poll, and every poll shows, Peter Baker, that Americans support Donald Trump generally on crime, don't support some of the excesses, support Donald Trump on some of his immigration policies, but certainly not how he's implementing them. He's upside down in a lot of polls on immigration, not because of the border. I think most people support the border as is. It's the implementation, the overreach.
Yeah, I think that's right. The latest polls show that he's underwater on immigration, his #1 issue. That's stunning for a guy who made that such a centerpiece of his campaign last year, a centerpiece of his presidency so far. And I think you're right. There is a distinction that many voters are making between the border, which has largely been shut down in terms of the flow, and Americans think that's fine. They don't want a lot more people coming in. But I think they have been shocked to see people in their communities, workplaces raided, homes raided, people who seem to be working, not living off the federal dole or anything like that. And that has affected his poll ratings. And it's interesting to see whether or not they back off. For now, as you guys say, like the images. And part of the reason they like the images is because they're not going to get the numbers. Remember, he said that he was going to deport every single illegal immigrant in the country during 4 years. That's just not feasible. He's not making those numbers. He's nowhere near those numbers. He'll never make those numbers at the rate they're going, as extensive and expansive as this crackdown is.
I mean, Peter, it's impossible to make those numbers. And we said on January 20th or around there, it's going to be impossible to meet these numbers. And it's even going to be hard to meet the numbers that Joe Biden was doing, because Joe Biden, during the Biden administration, they were allowing so many illegal immigrants in. It was very easy to get those numbers by the southern border.
Yeah, that's right. And so that's why pictures speak 1,000 words, right? Don't pay attention to the numbers. Don't pay attention to the specific promises he made. You see these pictures, it looks like he's keeping his promises, but there is the political, the backlash that he's risking here.
All right. Peter Baker, thank you very much. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side, we're going to talk to the Attorney General of California. We'll be right back.
As Americans, there's one thing we